I've got a 12.5-foot oak here, and it's 19 inches on the big end and 15 inches on the small end. I've only had this mill for a little over a year, so last summer, kind of an impulse buy, I bought this motorcycle lift that Lumberjack uses and then never ended up using it because it turns out I really didn't need it for the size log that this mill can handle, except for those really big ones that you see in the last month, those 2 big logs that I did. But those I just lifted with the tractor to shim. So this has got 4 inches of taper and the heart's about dead center. So I need to lift it about 2 inches. This will be a little over 2 inches. So I've just been putting my can hook in there like that. And you just take some work. But the majority of my logs aren't even this big, and it can be a whole lot easier than this. This is about as big a log as I do. But since I went ahead and bought it, I thought today'd be a good day to test it out, and who knows, maybe I'll like it a whole lot better than using shims. I want to be cutting this log into 2x8s. For my pole barn that I'm building, I'll need 24 2x8x12s for my headers, and so that's what I'm going to be starting to work on today. I had this piece of ash that I was holding on to from another project I did, and it just so happens to be the perfect length, and probably, it's probably wide enough, but the perfect length to fit right in there to set my motorcycle jack on. I mean, how much luckier than that can you get? Fits in there perfect. And you can buy a scissor jack toe board from Woodland Mills for like 175 bucks. But if I remember right, this one was right at 50 bucks. I'll put the Amazon link down in the description for you. That's where I bought this one from, is from Lumberjack's Amazon link. It says it's got 1,100 pounds max lift capacity. So that means the log could probably weigh twice that much. It would lift it. I don't think I need these pieces. Comes with those pieces, probably something to do with lifting the motorcycle, but I'd say this flat surface would work just fine. It comes with this little gizmo here to turn it, but there's not a whole lot of room to turn it, and you'd have to keep on slipping that back and forth, and it'd be slow and tedious and not worth it. So Lumberjack uses a regular drill. This is my big impact driver, but it'll work just fine as well. You can lift 1,100 pounds, so it should lift it just fine. Oh yeah. I hope the impact part of it isn't hard on it. Now I have to kind of guess. I mean, it's so far so good. I am curious how it would do on one of the massive logs that I've been cutting. Well, the one thing about using my blocks is I know what thickness they are. I've got a 3/4, an 1.5 inches, and a 1/2 inch. And so I can just put in the thickness that I need, you know, close. But with this, it's a little more difficult. Most of the logs that I have are at least a year old, so the bark comes off pretty easy. So I like taking, if possible, taking the side of bark off where the blade's going in, so if there's any rocks or something stuck in it, it doesn't catch on the blade. So on the other side, it's more likely just to throw them away. It's my thinking anyway. And if it doesn't come off easy, I often don't bother with it. This bark's pretty clean anyway. I've got 15 inches here on the small end, so I'm gonna square it off, and I'm making my 2x8s 1.5 inches, but then a full 8 inches. So we'll see. I think maybe I can get 8 2x8s and maybe a couple of 2x6s out of it. And I know I'm starting it up top, but that's because it takes so long to let it down. If it's down here, I can start it underneath, but I've got it up top and I don't feel like letting it back down, so it is what it is. I just had people suggest to me in the last video to turn this where I'm pulling down, but then when it's down, and then it's too far down, so I mean, just the way it is with the manual start. Here's a nifty trick I learned from Oregon Old Timer for these Woodland mills and others that have similar log stops. These have, let me see, these log stops have a 45 on them, so you can flip them around. It's supposed to be able to turn your logs, but they don't work the greatest. But a piece of PVC slipped over there makes it work pretty good. This side's fairly well caked in mud. That should do it. For this next cut, don't forget to lower your toe board back down. Well, this is a horrible demonstration of how to use a toe board. Sometimes when I'm making a video, I just don't think straight. I think I said this was an oak, but I'm pretty sure it's a poplar. And the other thing is, this cut, the bottom cut was right here, and this one is only 3 inches from the heart, because this one had it was crooked. That side was flat, and this side really flanged out, and I should have lifted it up further, but at least I'm doing this job for myself. But you can make fun of me in the comment section. They say bad press is still press, right? Yeah, this is definitely poplar, which I like cutting poplar. Poplar and pine are my funnest ones to cut. I bent the handle on my bucket to lift it up higher, and it works a lot better. Another little upgrade I did to my mill. That screw up getting that way off is gonna lose me a bunch of boards, I think. I'm using this little knot as a wedge. It's pretty good. Now here I can see a real benefit and using this. Because I can now, that I've got two hands to use. This is what I should have done. It's a lot more accurate this way. If you lay your board across, this heart's at 14.5, so I'm a little bit high on that end. I often just eyeball it and guess, but you can see that got me 1.5 inches off. Here is where it's going to cost me for getting it so far off center. Because I'm going to be losing quite a bit of width there. That's why poplar is one of my favorite woods to cut. So that sawing is in real time. I think in the beginning of the video I said I hope I get 8 2x8s and probably 2 2x6s. I think it's gonna be 7 2x8s and 2 2x6s. But I gotta do a little bit of edging to get that. I've got these measurements on here. So if I'm on the 6, it'll be exactly 6 inches up from the log bunk. So this is easy. I just go into 8 inches and have my 2x8. I can't move this if I go by that, but I just make sure I don't move that. I move my magnet up and down for the adjustments instead of this piece. Well, I got me 7 nice 2x8s and 2 nice 2x6s out of it. I love cutting tulip poplar because it's a very strong wood for the weight, and it cuts so easy. And, well, like I said, strong wood for the weight, but it's very light wood. It's not as strong as oak, but it's plenty strong enough for anything I'm going to be doing with it. And about this jack, if you're not a young man with a strong back, then yeah, I'll probably want to use a jack, but for the most part, like, I don't even cut many logs that are this big. For the most part, it'll be just so much easier using the cant hook and just lifting it and faster. But I'll probably keep this thing around just for when I'm doing real big logs, because then I have to use a tractor to try to lift it, and I'm on a slope here and trying to get the tractor in there. I keep damaging my track or messing it up. So I'll probably use this just for the very biggest logs, and keep doing it the old-fashioned method with actual boards for the other way. So thanks for watching, and God bless.